Hi, this is Chef Kas coming to you live from space. We are here cooking some awesome food. In other words, what we call CFA, cooking for awesomeness. Welcome. Hit my theme music. No, I'm just playing. We don't really have theme music just yet, but maybe in the edits we will. So today we're going to be really making some awesome food. Thank you to the videographer, Joe Buda, coming from Las Vegas Informer, just celebrating their second year in existence, their second year of awesomeness, dominating life all over the place, particularly in Las Vegas. So what we're going to be doing today is a number of things. I'm going to be showing you how to make some great dishes that you can eat when it's appropriate, when it feels good for you. I don't talk about things just being healthy. I talk about them working for you or not working for you. If something makes you feel the way you want to feel, great. If it doesn't make you feel that way so much, probably want to avoid it. Okay, so you're basically in control of your health. What I want to tell you about right now, because we got a lot of things going on, we're going to fly right into it. I've got some pans here on the heat. These pans are smoking hot. You can see the smoke actually coming off of the pans. We're getting ready to sear some beef, which we're going to then cook in a pressure cooker. It's going to be salsa braised beef. Okay, so we're going to want to heat the pans real hot, get them smoking, and we are going to sear that beef in our pan. These pans are extremely hot. Even just going near them, I'm kind of searing my hands. Get a good non-stick pan. You're going to have your cooking spray. I want you to spray it off of the fire so it doesn't catch on fire. Okay, you can see instantly all that smoke come off, which is a good sign. And we're going to put our beef right in there if there's any paper. Unless you like paper, I would recommend taking that out. We're going to do the same thing with the other one. Remember, take off the stove. You're about to see an inferno. Okay, let that pan. Whoop up. That's okay, it'll die. You got that in there? Again, take the paper out. Not that take the paper out is really a high-level cooking technique, but you know, a little bit of salt, just kind of dust it. That's probably, and you're better off using your hands. And you see we're developing a nice browning on the beef. That's exactly what we want to do. Pan is going to become your best friend. Keep spraying those pans because these really hot pans are going to take that non-stick right off. Okay? Keep spraying the pans. Lubrication is essential. That's just that's a life motto. Lubrication is essential. Remember that, folks at home, kids of all ages. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit of pepper in now. Now I am gonna go hands. And always remember, wash your hands. We did that before we got on camera. Okay? And you don't want to move the pans around too much because you want to develop browning. If you move it too often, the meat will not brown. You also don't want to overcrowd the pan. Now, searing, browning the meat is the process of a Maillard reaction. Maillard reaction is the browning of protein. It's similar to caramelization, which would happen with sugar, right? Any form of a sugar, any form of a carbohydrate, such as toasting bread. Of course, caramelizing sugar. Also, browning potatoes. So, we're making sure our meat gets brown on each side, not overcrowding the pan. Pan needs to stay really hot. You can see that these are on high heat, and I'm only moving it every so often. Keep in mind, the longer we leave the meat in the pan, the more the pan is going to cool down, right? The original heat we had isn't going to be maintained. And what you can do is keep spraying it. That's going to keep the pan nice and non-stick. And at this point, when we've already got, you know, a nice browning all around, but we still have a few kind of areas that are a little less colored, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in. Get that oil in, let it get hot, and then coat the beef. Coat the beef is my new favorite phrase ever. Coat the beef. If your parents, if you're at home right now, and your parents say, go clean your room, you can go say, coat the beef. I don't know what that means, but it's incredible. That was a great life discovery in my life right now. So what we're going to be doing with this beef is we are going to actually be cooking it in a pressure cooker. Right now, we're just trying to develop some nice color on the outside. And at this point, what you're going to do, when you've got your beef nicely brown, and you still got a little ways to go on the browning you like, we're going to get some onions in there. And be generous with your onions. Whoop. And we are going to also be mixing this with some salsa, which does have onions in it already. Toss those onions in. If you're not too good at tossing, practice with less in the pan, or practice with a smaller pan. I highly recommend getting pans with long handles, okay? The longer the handle, the easier it's going to be to toss that pan. What we want to do now is we want to caramelize and saute those onions a little bit with all that flavor from the beef. Another way to do this, and this is maybe even a better option, is finish the beef first and then put the onions into the same pans using all that beef juice that's still in there. That way we're getting all that flavor from the beef, because the beef, what that leaves over is just pure flavor. So we want to get as much of that into our dish as possible. And we're not going to do these too much, but we want to get them nice and soft, get that beef more brown. Okay. So when our beef is pretty well sauteed and the onions have some nice color, they're looking like tasty onions. Imagine when you go out to get a good burger or something and you get like some caramelized onions on top of it. Think about what the best caramelized onions you've ever had look like. Okay? Try to get your onions to look like that. We're going to turn the heat off. We're going to pull these pans off. And we're going to put them directly into our pressure cooker. We're going to pour beef. Try to, not get it everywhere. That's a real high-level cooking technique. Try not to get it everywhere. Okay, so we're going to push all of that into it. And what's great about pressure cookers is you're going to get everything in there and just kind of let it sit. You're not even going to worry about it. And I love to do beef and lamb in pressure cookers particularly because they're the type of foods that, they need time to get tender. And by putting them in the pressure cooker, number one, it's going to be less time, but number two, we don't have to worry about it. Once that top is sealed, we know it's good to go. Okay. Also, just on a physical level, make sure when you're holding these heavy pans to be retracting your shoulder blades back and down, so you don't hurt your shoulder or any other muscle, strain your trapezius. Right? You want to have that shoulder blade locked. Important. This is important. I'm just going to make sure I get all of these drippings. In high-level cuisine, they call this fond. Fond is like foundation. That's anything that's stuck to the pan from the meat, and it's really flavor. Think about when you have like some burnt cheese on your grilled cheese or something, right? That's all just condensed flavor. Okay, we've got our beef in our pressure cooker, and the next thing we're going to do is we have some salsa that we already made, or we can get from the store. There's no problem with. I like the fresh store-bought salsa. I don't particularly like the Tostitos brand or Taco Bell or Super Nachos brand of salsa that comes in the aisle that lasts forever. I'll get the fresh stuff that I know was made recently, probably by somebody who authentically knows how to make salsa. Find one you like, maybe find a local brand, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to take all the time to make your own salsa. So I'm just gonna then pour it in there and get all that goodness in there and throw my container on the floor. That's obviously where it goes. And we're gonna now have our beef and our salsa, and I'm gonna put in just some black beans. And what's great about the black beans, and again, these were already partially cooked as well. They're softened up already. And they're gonna give it's kind of gonna be like a salsa braised beef stew. Black bean salsa braised beef stew. Say that 10 times fast. Salsa black bean braised beef stew. I don't think I can. So, I feel like I'm like Mr. Wizard. You know, I'm doing like a kid's show. So, that's what I should be doing. I should be doing a kid's show. So we've got our black beans and our salsa and our beef. And then I've got some roasted garlic paste that I made up previously, which is just garlic, slow roasted with olive oil, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of crushed black pepper. And this stuff is just like flavored gold, right? This is, it's so condensed. It's just basically pure condensed garlic. And I'm gonna put a couple nice spoonfuls of that into my mixture. And then the only other thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna have our container we use for our salsa, which still has some little salsa parts, onions and such. We're gonna pour that in, and we're gonna cover everything. Okay. So take a look at that. I'm gonna put a little bit of chili powder in here, just a little bit, just some additional flavors. Nothing too much. I'm not trying to make chili, just something to give a little bit different zest when all that comes out. So a little bit of dried oregano, and that'll go really, really nice with the salsa. If you get any dried Mexican oregano is actually a different oregano altogether. It tastes different. That's really good too. And some red pepper flakes, just to add a little bit of spice. That salsa was actually pretty mild, so just putting those red pepper flakes in there. Now, never used a pressure cooker before. I've made this mistake before, believe me. We're gonna lock in the arms there and turn the dial. And you wanna get this thing tight, because as we'll see later, what this is gonna do is gonna contain all the steam. So it's literally going to cook your food with pressure. That's why we wanna use very dense foods like beef and beans. As a result, they're gonna get nice and soft. Okay, and we can put this now on one of our burners. And we'll just put it here for the moment to get it hot. So everything pretty much ready to go with our salsa braised beef. And we've got our pressure cooker here ready to open up. Now, do not at this point open up your pressure cooker. You will get blasted in the face with steam, and it's not a pleasant experience unless you like scalding hot steam scalding you, being scalded by the scalding hot steam. So take any object, it doesn't have to be a roasting fork like this one, just something that you can prop this up, and you're gonna put it right on this little, it reminds me of like a train, and let all the steam out. And once all that steam is released, then you're free to open it up. In the meantime, I'm going to take some pasta, some whole wheat pasta that I have prepared. Put that right in the center of my plate. And I've got some sauteed collard greens. Now, all the steam is out. Open this guy up. And it could be, make sure it could be a little bit tight. And it will definitely be hot. Grab a wooden spoon or spatula. Straw it up. Now the other thing with a pressure cooker is you don't want to have it too long for the amount of liquid that you put in, because the bottom could burn. So just remember to turn it down. This looks just about perfect, nice and thick. but without burning on the bottom. Get a nice ladle. Our salsa braised beef. A little bit more. And as a garnish, I'm going to put on a little bit of green bell peppers. As a garnish, I'm going to put on some green bell peppers and some chopped green onions. And you're going to try a little bit. Everything on that fork. It's hot. That's what pressure cookers do, they make things hot. The beef is super tender, breaks right apart. The only other thing you might want to add is a little bit of a base, so that could be like a sour cream, or something a little more healthy would be like a Greek yogurt, or even a little bit of cheddar cheese sprinkled over the top of this. And that is your salsa braised beef.